Good afternoon, Tony Dottino, doing my Live with Tony. I'm finding that if I wait till my 4 or 5 o'clock hour, my afternoons just kind of dissipate on me, and it's 7 o'clock before I know it. So a little busy, but it's all good. So when I have time earlier in the day, I'm doing my Live with Tony. So today, I want to share with you a really fun morning I had doing a workshop with Michael Dottino on names and faces. So the very first thing that we discussed with the group of people that were our participants were, well, why is it important to remember a person's name and match it to their face? And it may seem like a silly, obvious question, but boy, it opened up a really interesting dialogue of, number one, it's crucially important because it's the most polite thing you can do when you meet someone, but then you meet them again. So the first topic of conversation, is it important for you to focus and think about how you're going to remember somebody's name with their face the next time you see them? Or is this a person that you saw on a vacation trip and you're likely never to meet them ever, ever, and ever again? And so the reason for why you would want to remember somebody's name became important. If it's someone you're doing business with, or if you're in sales, or you're in marketing, or you're in an organization where you're meeting different people within a company or a function, it may be important. If you're at a social gathering and you meet someone that may be a good networking contact, it may be crucial for you to remember what their name is and match it to their face, so that the next time you see a person, there's nothing more important than remembering their name and matching it up to their face. When I work with executives, it's amazing. Executives, want some tips on how do we remember the names and faces as I round or as I meet different people in departments or I walk about the floors of the workplace. And here's the amazing part that executives don't realize very often. When you walk through and you remember an employee's first name, don't even have to remember their second name, it blows them away. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Or hey, Sally, how's this going? Or Lauren, it is amazing what it does to boost a person that's doing the day-to-day work and the day-to-day labor, how inspiring it is and how excited they get when a senior executive can remember their name as they walk by them, which then opens up a door on, well, how's it going today? Are there any work issues and it just opens up the communication pipeline just off of how to remember someone's name. So the workshop today was focused on helping people to do that. And so the very first tip that seems so obvious to one when you teach it to them, but isn't obvious, because the very first tip we gave them is to focus on, is it important to remember this person's name? And is it something you want to do? And 3, do you believe that there's a skill behind it, that if you learned to build the skill, it wouldn't matter whose name or face you were trying to recall. It'd be a process or a skill that you could build over a period of time. There's no hurry. You'll get there. And the important thing is the fun you'll have in doing it and the creative process that you'll ignite in your own thinking capacities. So it was a really interesting start to the day. So with that, the first tip of the day is focus on the person you're looking at and you'll be speaking with. And do not worry about what you're going to say to them to impress them about yourself. You already know what is impressive about yourself. You may have thought about it before you went to a social gathering or a corporate meeting or just walking by somebody in a grocery store. You should know that. You're the guru. That's you. So don't worry about what you're going to say. Worry about what you're going to introduce yourself to with the person that you asked, so what is your name? And what you want to be doing is looking at their face, looking at a facial feature that may be unique to that face. So we talked about ears and foreheads and eyebrows and noses and lips and chins and cheeks. and just casually look at them and grab a feature that makes them unique. Hey, I remember there's a freckle there. Or I remember the lips that are here. I know there's an ingrown, cheekbone there. Big ears was one thing we had, some of the examples. But just focus on that feature and then listen to their name. Now you hear their name, and the person says to you, "My name is Kyle." Okay, got it, Kyle. Now what do you want to do? I heard the name. Now I want to spell it back. I'm going to verbalize it back to Kyle. Kyle, is that spelled K-Y-L-E? And Kyle looks back at you and says, yes, it is. Or Kyle may say, no, that's K-I-L-E. But in any case, you've spelt it now. So you've heard it. You have verbalized it. As you verbalize the spelling of K-Y-L-E, your brain is implanting each of those initials into your thinking capacity. And now you talk to Kyle about, Kyle, what brought you to this session? Where do you work? Do you live locally? What do you do for a living? And bam, 3 or 4 questions or so that are safe questions that open up the conversation for you now to take K-Y-L-E, looking at a facial feature of Kyle. Oh, he's got an interesting nose and what a pair of ears. Great. And now you want to repeat, Kyle, it's interesting that you work at that company. I know several people that work there and they love it. How do you find it? Kyle, there's somebody I know that lives in the same neighborhood. Might you know the Joneses that live at 612 Harrington Street? Now, what else have you done? You've spaced out your dialogue into a few short little sentences, and you've used Kyle's name multiple times. And you've done it in a very natural way so that primacy and recency of memory comes into play, meaning you first introduced, you heard it, now you're speaking it, now you're linking it. You're creating links and connections of Kyle to where he lives, where he works, maybe other friends. And the next thing you've got to do then is take the feature of their face and mark the ears, the nose, the thing, with the word Kyle, and you say, I know with his ears, and when I see him, I see K-Y-L-E planted across his forehead. Maybe I see K-Y-L-E like a banner on an earring sticking out of his ear, and you make some unique feature connection to the name, and now you've got the process. So what we did in the workshop is we had some fun with it. We had them look at one another and just grab the distinguishing feature, and we shared. Somebody had the forehead, some eyebrows were a big deal today. A couple of chins. We had some very interesting lips, overall head shapes. Fun in sharing that. People are laughing in terms of what you may study about them that you find unique, so they found that interesting. And then we went around and had them introduce themselves to somebody they didn't know and go through spelling a name. So we got an L-A-U-R-E-N. We got a K-Y-L-E. We had a CAM, which was interesting. CAM as in K-A-M, which was unique for CAM. And so we got through that exercise, and then we got to the next stage of making some connections. So, and the creativity and the fun of the different connections people had, especially when we got to last names, was very creative and a lot of fun. So for more on how does one remember names and faces, I might suggest you look at our Maximum Memory Mastery online course. There's a whole module in that course on just how do you remember names and faces. But there's a couple of things I want to share with you, which is, number one, is it important to you to build a social connection? Because to me, it's what it's all about, is how do we build friends and relationships and networking and family buckets and work buckets and personal buckets, to where we have a social network of support so that in times of need and times of fun, we have friends that can come around, and the science is just continuing to do that and demonstrate how vital that is. So that's number one. Number two, what self-esteem do you get from it, and feeling that you might be able to do something you never thought that was possible. And we shared with them the results of our 5-time champion and what he's been able to do, and remembering the first and last names of 117 people, and he does it in 15 minutes. So it is a skill that people can build. We've got evidence in the USA Memory Championship of it being done. And what I encourage people to do as a homework assignment and a post-workshop assignment, next time you go to a grocery store, just notice the names of a few of the people that serve you. Maybe it's the service desk, maybe it's the produce manager, maybe it's the deli, maybe it's the cashier. And of course, in a lot of stores, they have their names printed, but make it a point to look at that printing, get their name, repeat, hey, Lauren, or hey, Kyle, or hey, Mary. Boy, that great job you did. Thanks for checking me out so fast, or thanks for helping me out on getting a different item in the produce, which will serve my dinner needs tonight better. And you make a friend in the grocery store. You make a friend in a restaurant, or you make a friend at a retail shop that you're doing your shopping at. And it's amazing how we can build relationships with people that we may have never ever seen, talked with before, and make it lasting and important to us. That's my Wednesday session, Names and Faces. I hope each of you gets something from it. You may want to look at the USA Memory Championship website and drop down to Maximum Memory Mastery and take a look at that as something that will help you in a whole variety of areas, of which one piece of it is Names and Faces. See you back here on Friday. Have a good week.